Hey, VA Nation, Jeff Newton here with National VA Loans, powered by Stride Bank. Of course, the contact us here at National VA Loans is 855-956-4040, or check us out online at nationalvaloans.com. All right, today, guys, we've got a great guest with us, something that's really close to us and what we do. It's Eric Criner. He's the National Director of Veterans Real Estate Benefits Network. And you might be asking yourself, well, what is that? Well, that's why we're having Eric on. It's an amazing opportunity. So I'm going to bring Eric in right now. Uh, Maybe I will. Let's see. There we go. All right, Eric, are you there?
Hey, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, man. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's a great day to be an American.
Amen to that. That was something we were talking about just before we got on, and yeah, I mean, great day to be a proud military man as well, right?
It is that. It is that. That this last weekend just makes everybody proud. I don't want to get off subject, but it's worth mentioning how great our country is and what we can deliver anywhere in the world is just amazing.
Dude, it's so funny how you hear people. Well, America's not number. Come on, man. We are number one. Period.
Yeah.
We are the powerhouse. We have the most dedicated men and women in service there is. Period. No,
Yep.
bar none. There's no question.
Yeah.
And
There's nobody even in our league. I mean, it's like we're in the NBA. Everybody else is playing high school ball. So,
yeah,
it's light years ahead.
it's amazing, and you're right. It does make you let you wake up to be proud. I mean, proud to
It
be in our
does.
country. Proud to look outside and see the sun shining and know you're safe and taken care of. And it's a damn good feeling. And it's all thanks to veterans like yourself.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And there's about 12 million of us, so there's a whole lot of thanks out there.
Oh man, I tell you, it is probably one of my greatest pleasures of what I get to do every day, working with veterans like you and some of the amazing, man, just, I mean, God, Eric, I can tell me and you could probably talk for freaking hours. And as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
we control the hours on this, so we'll talk as long as we want. But I've done loans, and this is a story I've told a million times. But I had at one point I was doing a loan for a Vietnam vet here in Kansas City, and I happened to be doing one for a Vietnam vet in Hawaii. And I put those two old boys on the phone, and next thing you know, 3 hours later, we're still talking. And those guys, still 5 years later, those guys still have conversations about once or twice a year. They just sit
Yeah.
and talk for a couple hours. So
Yeah, there's always immediate connection between veterans. I mean, as we both work with a whole lot of veterans. Every time I get one on the phone, it's 15, 20 minutes, and they're like my new best friend. But the cool thing about veterans is there's immediate loyalty and trust that goes into that relationship that's bonded from the time that we're young troopers. And so, that carries over from even when we meet them downtown someplace.
yeah, it's a pretty cool bond, especially for, I mean, me not being a veteran. It's really nice how everyone's kind of welcomed me in as far as with what we do with National VA, and they understand why we
Oh
do what we
yeah.
do. It's, obviously, it's giving information and helping veterans get the and find the right loan. And, that's really where it comes in, where Veterans Real Estate Benefits Network comes in is we have veterans come to us all the time and they don't have a real estate agent. So can you kind of tell our VA Nation out here, tell us about VREB and Veterans Real Estate Benefits Network?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'd love to. We started about 12 years ago. We started on Veterans Day, 2012. And really, our mission was simple. It was to make sure that veterans got the best real estate service they could get, the access to the best lenders, and that us working with our agents across the nation could thank veterans for their service. And the best way to thank them was after closing that we send them a rewards check. Now our average is about $2,000 or $3,000 after closing, a real life check, not a smoke and mirrors, not a credit, not anything else, but a real life check. And this thing has just grown over the last 12 or 13 years. And we have helped thousands of veterans across the nation. We give back about $1 million a year to veterans. And it has made a significant difference in their lives. And so, as we kind of get into this hour, we'll talk a little bit more detail about it. But it was really just gathering up agents across the nation that wanted to be part of this, and it's just grown. And now we have thousands and thousands of agents all across the nation that love veterans. And if they aren't a veteran, they're taking a course to learn how to work with veterans. And they're delivering great service, and we're finding that veteran the right home. and we're making sure the veterans taken care of and we got their back. And that's really what we're all about. And it has grown because of great lenders like yourself, Stride Bank, and just, the agents across the nation have just done huge things and success in getting these homes closed for them.
It's I was, when you and I first talked, gosh, it's been 6 years ago or so, probably. I don't know.
Has it been that long already? Oh my
I don't know.
God.
It feels like it. I mean, although it feels like this week, it should be Monday right now. This week has gone so fast.
Ooh, man.
But, it's because you've been doing this a long time. When a veteran, they go out online and they'll say they see one of our YouTube videos or like this right here. And, they call in and they're like, well, we want to get pre-qualified for a house. And, they're in, the middle of Tennessee, let's say. And
Right.
they're like, I don't have a real estate agent. Do you have anyone you can suggest? And, before I met you and came across VREB, I'm like, well, let me do some research. So I'd call title companies. Hey, who's a great real estate agent in your guys' area? And then after I got the name, I start trying to track them down. And,
Right.
then when I met you, I was like, wait a minute. So not only do I have this guy, Eric, who's vetting all of these real estate agents, making sure that they're qualified and they're successful veteran-oriented real estate agents, but he's also going to place them, and then he's going to do a benefit back to the buyer. It just didn't get any better. I was like, man, this is like my dream right here.
Yeah.
So it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's worked out well.
Yeah, no, it has. Now, and it's a simple process. That's what I like is everyone that I've worked with throughout your entire organization and every borrower that I've spoken to after the fact or during the process, man, you guys are on top of things. There's no waiting. There's no, well, I wonder if they're going to get them with somebody. Man, you guys get them. You find them the right real estate agent in their area right away. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we've got access to almost 100,000 agents, so we can really go deep in any city in the country. And we know the good, the bad, and the ugly. We don't care if they're ugly. We just don't want them to be bad. And so we reach out quick. I mean, our goal is to get an agent assigned to that veteran within 24 hours, which is pretty fast. And then we make sure that relationship's good, that first date goes well. And if they don't like that first date, we don't mind reassigning a new agent because we can go deep. We're not just counting on one person to take care of some, Bartow, Georgia, So
yeah.
So we can go deep. If that relationship doesn't go well up front, it's not going to get any better. Let's just end it. Let's get him a new agent. And so speed is important because if veteran doesn't want to wait on us, we don't want them waiting on us. And then our staff is constantly checking with the veteran, the agent, make sure everything's going well. And so we definitely stay on top of it. The goal is what we started with is make sure they get great real estate service, make sure the lenders engaged, make sure the agents engaged. And there's often confusion because a lot of these veterans have never bought in a home before. So we don't mind taking time to make sure that they understand the process. And so, I think that's important.
Oh man, you hit right there on what I was going to bring up next is, one of the things that I think that I enjoy most about being able to work with the agents that are in your network is, they do take time to explain the process, the home buying process, and go through it with them. And because that's one thing that we really do. I mean, I like to do like Zoom meetings or Teams meetings with customers because we work with people all over the country. I mean, we just closed a loan for a gentleman stationed over in Germany. And he bought a house in Florida. And, I mean, you understand the logistics of some of that sometimes. It can be like, okay, you're 8 hours ahead of us. I got to get docs over to you the night before or the 2 days before so you can sign them and go to all that stuff. But, one of the things that we really focus on is information and knowledge and knowing how the process works. And I love that you guys do the same thing. When I talk to, when I refer someone to a company or another service, it takes a lot,
it reflects on you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like when you give the thumbs up to hire a guy. Well, now that's my guy. That's my thumb up, and I gotta make sure he performs.
Right.
So, but I have never felt more comfortable. Number one, knowing the fact that you do have such a great network of people, of real estate agents. But number two, knowing that you and I both, we talked about this, but we know that not every single personality is going to mesh. And it
Right.
doesn't mean that this real estate agent was bad or this
Right.
veteran is mean or something like that. It just means that they don't line up.
Right.
And you're deep enough to where, okay, well, you didn't line up with Steve. I got Bill, and Bill's a
Right.
great guy. You'll like Bill. And so it makes it nice. It's kind of like us. I've got not everyone. Hey, look, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, sometimes I gotta be like, hey, you know what? I think you're gonna work better with John or with
Yeah.
James or
Yeah.
someone like that. And that's okay because the most important part, just like you guys, is taking care of the veteran or the active duty service member.
Right. And that's the human factor that exists. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's a human factor, and people just sometimes don't feel comfortable with a different personality type. And so we fix that. But I think, the other thing that goes unsung a lot is that, you know, I've been a real estate broker for 20 plus years. I don't want to tell you how long because it's going to make me feel old, but um ever since I retired from the Army, even when I was in the Army, I was selling homes. But since that time, I've been in the field. So if an agent, trips, steps, falls down, can't seem to figure something out, I will call the agent, coach the agent, and if necessary, I'll call that agent's broker. But we're going to get it fixed. I mean, I'm going to get knee deep into their stuff. I don't mind. I'm not shy. But the goal is we're going to get it fixed. We're going to get that veteran their home. And if it takes a little bit of a fight, hey, I'm all for it. As long as it's for the right reason. The right reason is get that veteran the house they wanted. And if we got to get through a hurdle or a speed bump, we're going to get through it one way or another. And that comes up 25% of my week is fixing real estate problems that an agent couldn't fix at their level. So think about it from a veteran's perspective. They got another level of real estate support that they traditionally wouldn't get by just the one agent they're coupled with. And so, I try to preach that, but it's probably not that well understood because the public thinks every agent's the same.
Yeah.
We both know they're not. It's just like in your world, the public thinks every lender's the same, that everyone's just as good as Jeff, but that's not the case. I mean, we both know that about 10% of the lenders and 10% of the agents close 90% of the work.
Yep.
So,
You're right.
so you want to pair up with a person who's a top performer that's on their game, knows what they're doing, and not that person that works, at the gas station during the week and sells houses on the weekend. Nothing wrong with dual jobs, but you want someone who's knee deep in this, a professional, full time that make things happen. And that's what we bring is we get those part timers out, we get the full timers in, we get the guys and girls that are closing houses, but then that extra layer of support is really invaluable when they get stuck in a minefield and they don't know how to get out.
Oh, for sure, man. That's one of the biggest things. I see a lot of people that, a lot of guys that manage loan offices and stuff that haven't done loans in 10 years. I'm like, well, how the hell can you manage a loan office if you
Right.
haven't done loans? I mean,
Right.
you got to. What I always was taught growing up is make yourself irreplaceable and invaluable. And the best way to do that, and what you do, what I do, is I hate to say to know everything, but to know, be capable of doing every position. I mean, if I
Right.
have to, I can go back and process a loan. Do I
Right.
want to? Hell no, because I've got a really great processor who's a
Right.
stud. I don't want
Right.
to have any part of that. But if I had to, I could do it.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think that's something that goes overlooked. And really the reason it goes overlooked because guys like you, guys like me, who kind of have a Swiss Army knife of tools to our availability, those problems that come up or those issues that come up, we do everything we can to keep that away from our buyer or our borrower. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
need them to know the problems. It's kind of like the duck on the pond. On the pond, baby, I'm cool, calm, and collected. Underneath, I'm churning my feet as fast as possible to stay
That's right.
afloat.
Yep.
So, but it's
Yeah.
it's just it does matter who you work with, and especially on the real estate side. And you're right. A lot of people think, well, it's just a real estate agent is a real estate agent. Look,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 24 years into this, and let me tell you something.
Ooh.
Not the truth. And
No, so far from the truth. It's just so far from the truth. But you're absolutely right. They're not all built the same. They don't bring the same work ethic. They don't have the same education. They don't have the same experience. So the public's not aware of that. And so a network like us, we're there to backstop that. So if that agent's not doing their job, out they go, bring in the new agent. If the agent hits a speed bump, we're going to help them get over the speed bump, because it's all about getting that transaction closed. One thing I would like to bring up that I think's of great interest to the viewers is that this rewards check that we give after closing, it's a membership benefits check, so it's legal in every state. But I think an important note of this is that the buyer can use it as a realtor closing cost credit. So translated, what that means is that if you're the buyer and you're going to closing, and the car breaks down a week before closing, you got to spend a bunch of money to get the car fixed, and that reserve that you had to buy that house has now been depleted. We can take that rewards check at $2,000 or $3,000, apply it to your closing. And we go through all the legalities to do that. But what we're doing is we're converting that rewards check to a credit at closing, reducing your cash you've got to bring to closing, which is a godsend when you're short cash a week before closing.
Hey man, well, it's a godsend even if you're not short cash. I mean,
oh yeah,
one thing that we do, and you and I have talked about this, but I want the veteran to buy a house with as little money out of his pocket or her pocket as humanly possible. So if you can get in there and we just closed one. It's a VREB. I sent them to you. So how about this? This is cool, and I go off on all directions in these things. So
that's all right.
We had a veteran and his wife. They just moved to St. Joe, Missouri, which is just a little north of Kansas City, about 40 minutes. But they're from Arizona, and they were driving down I-29, going by the airport, and my office is really close to the airport in Kansas City, and they see our big National VA loan sign. So as they're driving, they pull up the review. I mean, this is basically marketing 101 about how this works. But they pull up the reviews, and they see all these reviews for National VA, for me, and so they turn around and they come back and they just walked in and said, "Hey, we want to meet Jeff. We want to buy a house." They set my office. I took the application right here, which it's 2025. You don't very often take applications in person, but took the application right here. They didn't have a real estate agent. They don't know anyone. I know a few real estate agents up in the St. Joe area, but I thought, you know what? Let's get a benefit back for these folks. And so sent them over to you guys. You guys had them connected with an agent. I mean, I think it was in less than 3 hours, man. It was stupid fast how quick it was. That agent's reaching out to me. He already reached out to the buyer. They went and looked at houses that weekend. We closed their loan. Not this Monday, but the Monday before, so 2 weeks ago. So it only took us about 3 weeks all in all. And not only did they get their earnest deposit back of $1,000, they're going to get the rewards check of almost $2,500. And they didn't have the cashier's check that they brought me to pay for the appraisal. I just set it on my desk because I knew I had money to play with. So I was able to give their appraisal check back to them.
Nice.
So they got their 1,000 plus 600 plus their rewards. I mean, the guy he's a big burly dude, and we're sitting in the middle of Menards parking lot in St. Joe Mo, and he's got a gun strapped to him, and he gets out. I hand him his check, and this guy gave me the biggest hug in the world. He's like, "Man, thank you so much, because we were running low on money and buying a house. You know how it goes." I said, "Bro, that's why we want to make sure that you get as much money back." And I said, "Wait till you get that benefits check. It's going to be awesome."
Yep.
It's awesome.
Well,
so,
I bet better check with the staff. If he's a big dude with a gun strap, but I better make sure that rewards check's going out. So.
Yeah. By the way, that took about a week, and I told.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Oh God. But dude, no, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't have went any smoother. I mean, and they were so happy. They have 2 little kids. They're buying a house. I mean, it just couldn't have went smoother. And a lot of people think that doing more. All we care about is making money. Well, you know what? Look, making money. Number one, I want a real estate agent or a loan person that does this for a living to feed their family.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
If they're hungry, they're going to go to work for me.
Right. So, exactly.
But in the real of it, and the stuff that people don't get to see very often, we give a damn. We care, man. Exactly. And that's what I love about you guys is you guys care. It's not just, well, let's make $1. Yeah. You guys actually care. And it's amazing how when you care, how much easier it is to make money, number one.
Right.
And also how much easier it is for referrals just to come pouring to you, because people feel that, man. They sense that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's awesome.
I mean, years ago when I started in real estate, it was, if you take care of the client, the money will follow. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about what the commission is. Don't worry if there's a bonus. Don't worry about all that crap. Worry about the client. The money will follow. The referrals will follow. And that's kind of stuck with me. And so one of the things that we train the agents in the network is go after the seller credits, and a lot of agents are too lazy or they're scared to do it. But we train our agents, go after the seller credits. And what that means for the listener is that the seller is giving concession money. So the seller's coming out of their pocket to give the buyer money towards their closing costs. And so veterans don't often understand that there's no down payment with the VA loan. So we know that, but they forget about the closing costs. And the closing costs can be 2 to 3% of the loan. And so we're going after the seller to kick in the closing cost money so that the buyer doesn't have to come out of pocket. So we can create the scenario you just talked about where the buyer's getting their earnest money back. They're getting a rewards check from us. So it's the only time in the world that you can buy a house and make money. I mean, I think we talked about this on the phone, that they buy a house and make $3,000 or $4,000. That's crazy. That's unheard of.
Yeah, unheard. Well, and that's one of the places where you and I aligned. I mean, you and I aligned right away on a lot of things, but that was one of them because I preach that. I'm like, look, if you could buy, I mean, the VA loan gives you the opportunity to do it with 100% financing, with no money down, with no private mortgage insurance.
Right.
If that opportunity is laid in front of you, why do you want to come to the table with $10,000 if you don't have it?
Right.
And
right.
So that alignment and the way you guys train your real estate agents that are within the network is so big, and people they just don't understand it.
No.
And it's such a huge advantage. And number one, it keeps money in your pocket, but number two, it makes your loan much easier. There's less stuff we have to verify. There's less documentation the borrower or the buyer's got to put in place so they can get the loan.
That's exactly right. Yep. And then, the other thing to jump over to is that our market, our industry has changed. And now, with the recent changes in the buyer agency, a buyer's agent can go to a buyer and say, you're on the hook to pay my commission for 2%, 3%, whatever they agree on. And so we look to our agents to go to the seller and get the seller to pay their commission, and don't get lazy and just tell the buyer, hey, if I can't get it from the seller, you need to pay me my commission. As that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the VA loan, because there's no down payment. And if you're paying that agent 2 to 3%, you're really putting a down payment down on the house. It's just not going to equity.
It's just not going to equity. It's going to the abyss, basically.
That's exactly right. So we get agents in our network where we see a trend of, them charging our buyers, then they're pretty much out. Yeah. It's not officially the response, but an agent should have the capability to negotiate that in a transaction with a seller. And don't get lazy and look to our veterans to pay your commission, because you don't want to go after the seller to pay it.
Amen. God bless. Hey, listen, VA Nation, if you're listening to this, rewind that part a little bit, crank it up so you can hear it. Because you're 100% right, man. There is no reason a veteran or a active duty service member is paying a real estate commission at all. If they're buying a house, the seller can do that, and then the agent can negotiate it all. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. VA now allows, as you know, VA allows the veteran now to pay commission. That's been a change in the last 6 to 7 months. Prior to that, they weren't allowed to pay commission, but VA has changed that. And that's going to be a permanent change to the VA guidelines. So, that structure is there. So if you get a lazy agent who just says, hey, you got to pay me 2 to 3%, the average buyer doesn't really understand that, and they may not understand the math behind it. But if you're buying a $300,000 house, that could be $9,000 you're paying that buyer's agent. You just put a down payment, like we just said, it's gone off to the abyss. It's like, bye-bye.
Yeah.
So, we look at that very closely, and we train our agents, go after the seller. I say go after the seller, work with the seller and negotiate that into the contract so the seller's paying it, versus being lazy and just telling the buyer, sorry, I couldn't get it from the seller, but I'll collect your money at closing.
Yeah, and you're right. Being lazy is the way to put it, because right now
Exactly.
there's an abundance of equity in homes. So when people are selling their homes, they have equity in it. So who's got more money to play with, the seller or the
Exactly.
buyer? I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
it's a no brainer for sure. It's
Yeah.
and I love that you guys focus on that, because it's big. It's big. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Yeah.
when you can save it, I mean, just like this veteran a couple weeks ago, you know, as a first time home buyer, you know, and this is something we do try to talk about, but as a first time home buyer, you don't think about all the added expenses that you're going to
No.
have day one. Because
Right.
the minute you move, I mean, especially, look, I'll say it, the minute I moved into my home with my wife, holy crap.
Oh my.
I mean,
Oh
we
my.
need to do this. And it was like me, I lived at Home Depot for the first 2 weeks, and it
Right.
was crazy. And so the more money you can have in your pocket after closing, it's just important. It's
Yeah.
vital.
No, it's not as critical, and it's often overlooked. And veterans just need to slow down and do their research a little bit and find the right team, because it's all about the team that you're bringing to the fight. That's the key. So
Absolutely. Well, you know, now I know the one way, of course, that veterans find you guys is through lenders like us. Uh,
right.
you know, and that's a primary or one of the ways. But what are other ways that veterans, let's say they haven't talked to a real or to a loan person yet,
Right.
and they're just curious and want to know about VREB and how it
Sure.
works? What's other ways
Yes.
they can do it?
There's a couple different verticals that we use to try to touch the veterans. First is that we work with our agents across the nation to incorporate us in their marketing. So think the power of, a couple thousand agents talking about us in their social media feed, so that we're showing up on their Facebook pages as part of their marketing. And then we market as well. So we have a marketing company that pushes us out: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't think we're much into TikTok, but all the other ones we constantly advertising, talking about our program, and we'll put testimonials out there. I mean, we'll take real life veterans that have closed, and we'll put them out there in little short clips. And then we ask our agents that when they give a rewards check, some of our agents like to present the rewards check to the veteran. Most of it is just a direct deposit into the veteran's account. But the agents that do present the check, we ask them to take a picture of it so we can put that out there as well. Again, it just has a lot of power. Show an agent handing a big jumbo check to a veteran for $3,000.
Heck yeah, it does. That's
It
awesome.
just goes a long way. We've got some great agents across the nation that's just killing it. I got an agent in Norfolk that has closed probably 20 or 30 transactions this year for veterans. He's gone out and found the veterans, told them about the program, and closed 20 or 30 veterans. He's probably given out 150 reward checks. I mean, it's just,
Man.
he's a beast. I mean, he's a retired Navy captain, and the Navy guys are really smart. Us Army guys aren't as smart. We're more physically fit. We know how to fight. The Navy guys are really, really smart, so, but they're not as physically fit.
I got a Navy guy that works in here. I'm not going to let him hear any of that. All right.
Please do. He knows it's the truth. But so Navy guys have a lot of time on ships, and they read a lot of books. So they always get really, really smart. And us Army guys are always out fighting some bad guys. So we don't have time to read crap. So this agent, who's in the Norfolk market, I'll use his name because he's a great guy, Eric Gardner, does an amazing job. And so he's a Navy captain, really smart guy, went into real estate 6 years ago and just absolutely killing it. But he has that ethic that I worry about the client, not about the money. And it shows with all the testimonials. And he's just an amazing agent. He's only been doing this like 6 years, and he's killing it. So, it's that type of press that kind of gets us out in front of, veterans. We could always use more press because there's 12 million veterans, and we can't touch them all. We just don't have the marketing budget to touch 12 million people. I wish we did. I'd love to have a Super Bowl ad.
No kidding. Hey, maybe
that's a little bit out of my budget.
Maybe we should look at a joint venture Super Bowl ad.
There we go. I'm gonna have to bring some really, really rich friends in, but it sounds good
Yeah,
to
no,
me.
we're gonna have to find some. We're gonna have to find some rich dudes, but
Right.
I mean, we get 15 seconds for like what, $4 million? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That's chump change for us.
yeah, I
So
mean, hey, I'll write a check. You can cash
right,
it later, but I'll stroke a
right,
check.
right. As soon as commercial runs, then you can cash my check.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
Uh,
exactly it.
it's
So
we do get you guys obviously when people go out to the website and things like that and they go on and they import their information if they seem like a good fit for us, we've gotten people through that way and we've closed a number of loans with you guys that and I always ask them like, well, how'd you find out about VREB? And well,
right,
I was doing a real estate agent search and this came up in my area and
yeah,
I'm like,
boom,
okay, awesome. That's fantastic. And then, I mean, of course, just like anything else, well, how did you enjoy working with them?
right,
Loved it. Loved
yeah.
it. Okay,
Oh, that's
good.
good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. The other thing I wanted to shift into is that the messaging that we're trying to get out to veterans right now is actually a great time to buy a house. And people look at me like I'm speaking Latin or that maybe I had too much to drink prior to saying that. But first of all, I don't drink, so that's not the case. But the point is, now's a good time to buy a house, and so rates might be a little bit higher than what they were, you know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but marry the house and date the rate.
Yep.
So get out there, get a good agent, get a good lender like Stride Bank and your team, get pre-qualified, get all set, get out there, find the house, negotiate the house. Sellers are willing to give a lot of concession money. There's a lot of houses on the market right now. And so now's a great time because there's fewer buyers than there are houses, which allows you to negotiate with strength, get into that house, get a bunch of concession money from the seller, get a good price on the house, get it closed. And a year from now, when rates drop, or 6 months from now, when the feds finally wake up and drop the rates, you know what? Refinance the house. But you've gotten into the house that you wanted at a great price. You got a lot of concession money, and you are set. And when the market changes, that negotiating strength is going to go away. So
It is. You're 100% right. I mean, whenever people call me and they'll ask, well, is it a good time to buy? I'm like, yeah, you're never going to buy it cheaper than you can today. Six
right.
months from now, it's going to be more expensive. And if rates drop a point,
Ooh,
you're not even going to get an offer. I mean, back
right.
in back in 2020 and 2021 when all hell was breaking loose and rates were at
Yeah.
2.25 and things were going
Yeah.
crazy, people would call. I mean, I at one point had almost 100 pre-quals out, and
That's crazy.
they're like, I can't get an offer accepted on a VA loan. I'm like, yeah, it's the sad thing is you're working with the wrong agent, and
Right.
you need
Right.
to work with the right agent that understands how this goes. And
Exactly.
what I try to tell people now is, look, if those rates drop, you're going to go the same thing's going to happen. And when when the rates drop, there's going to be property on the market, but all of a
Yeah.
sudden there's going to be 10 times the amount of buyers in the market.
Exactly.
And there's going to be, I mean, next thing you know, you're just going to get pushed out for the guy that's got, well, or back then, I mean, hell, people were missing deals because of like these big rental companies were out buying properties
Oh
up
yeah.
left and right because
Cash money.
they
Yeah.
knew rent was, yeah, they were going cash money. And I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it. A seller is like, okay, well, I got cash on the barrelhead right here. What the hell am I
Mhm.
waiting for? I might as well
Oh yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
And so the regular Joes out there like us that want to buy a house, I mean, you were fighting. I mean,
Oh
fighting.
yeah. Oh yeah. And you said exactly right. You've got to have an agent that understands VA loans and can explain it to the listing agent, because most agents don't understand it, therefore they're scared of it. So if you don't understand something, you always push away from it.
Yep.
If your buddy brings up a subject, starts talking in Latin, you're not going to engage. You're going to look at him like he's crazy. So the same thing's true. If a seller doesn't understand it, it's like Latin. So you got to get an agent that understands it, that can speak it. That's critical. But what people don't understand is that if the rates drop 1 point, so it goes from 6.5 to 5.5, that's going to bring in another 5 million qualified buyers. People can't wrap their arms around that, but another 5 million buyers, in the market is crazy. I mean, that will exhaust our inventory almost in 30 days. Right now, we're at like 4.5 months of inventory. You bring in another 5 million buyers, and we're going to be at 2.5 months inventory.
Yeah.
And so, it's just going to just cause multiple offer scenarios, battling for every house, dealing with incompetent listing agents, and so that's why I keep saying buy now, refinance later. Just date that rate for 6 months,
Yeah.
maybe a year, suck it up for 6 months or a year. Listen, you've saved 10 times that amount in the price and the concessions. Eat it for 6 months, a year, and then refinance it. And you're just going to be a fat cat sitting in the right house,
Absolutely. And the beauty of the VA is if you go to refinance in 6 months, they have the VA interest rate reduction loan.
Yeah.
It don't get easier. I mean, Eric, it does not get easier than that loan.
No.
If I've been doing that loan only for my entire 24 years, I still have a full head of hair, baby. I mean, I'd be rocking. So it just doesn't get easier. And for all that, look, we won't get governmental and all that. I mean, everyone has their opinion, but for all the crap that the government pulls, the one thing I feel like they've done pretty good is the VA home loan.
Yes.
I really do. And believe me, I mean, it's hard for me to say things like that sometimes.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They've done such a good job with that loan and allowing a buyer to go in with zero money, allowing a buyer. And here's a big one that people never, I don't know how many times in the last 5 or 6 years that we've helped active duty or veterans have more than one VA loan at a time, but they don't understand you can own more than one VA loan at a time.
Oh yeah. You can reuse it. It doesn't expire. It doesn't wear out.
And it replenishes.
Reuse it. No, it's a great instrument. And it's unfortunately often not well understood. So
for sure. Well, I tell you what, man, I could talk. Well, hell, we could talk all day on this. I enjoy it. I enjoy what you guys do. I enjoy talking to you. You're a genuine guy, which is so hard to find in what we do sometimes. I watch. I mean, I look through YouTube. I look through our YouTube videos and other VA people that are doing YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I've reached out and talked to some of them, and in 5 minutes of talking to them, I'm like, you don't give a damn about a veteran. You care about making $1. And those are just people I don't really want to associate with, because I remember my first sales manager when I was 18 years old and just got into sales. He said, listen, if you build your career about making a little bit of money off a lot of people, you will have a very long, successful, and happy career.
Exactly.
And I've lived that forever. I'm like, look, I don't want to be the guy that, we always say, oh, he killed the bear. The guy that does one loan a month and makes 10 grand every month. That guy is not who I am. I'd rather do 20 loans a month and make 1,500 on each one of them. And I've got 20 really happy customers that, when they're out in public and here's what I always look for. And I always tell people this, I'm like, hey, when you're at a party and someone asks you and you're telling them about your new house and they ask, who'd you use? I want you to smile and say, I use Jeff Newton over at National VA Loans and Stride Bank. The guy's a badass. You got to use him. That's all I'm really looking for.
Yeah. And
that ringing endorsement.
And that's the way you build a long-term business, because there's so many imposters out there in what we do. The majority of the programs we compete with, nobody on the staff's a veteran. Nobody that owns the company's a veteran. They probably can't spell the word veteran. And yet they're sitting there, with pictures of the military. And, and listen, I'm all about supporting the military, and I appreciate that. But these guys act like they're a veteran program, and none of them are even veterans. But they sell themselves as they're deep in the veteran world. So that, so I would just say, just do your research in the real estate industry and space where they're talking about a veteran membership program. We're the only one owned by 100% disabled veteran. And so we promote that all the time. So
no, which is awesome, because again, it can be tough to find and be with the right people in the right space. With us here, I'm personally not a veteran. Like you said, I support 100%. And this is kind of, National VA Loans was kind of my way of helping support. My brother retired Air Force after 21 years.
Nice.
Both my grandfathers were in the Army. And so this is just kind of our way of giving back. Now I do have a couple great guys here. One of them was a Marine, or is a Marine. Sorry, I know better than that. He's corrected me. I've worked with him for 16 years now, and
Really? Oh
yeah,
man.
he's a great dude. Knows VA loans. In fact, if you ever want to know anything about a VA loan, just call him. He will tell you all about them. He knows them inside and out. And
Man,
then
that's a smart guy, man. And they're few and far between in the Marines that they're that smart.
that's what. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to cut that clip out and send it because that one's good. And then again, we've got our Navy guy over here. Josh and I have worked together for 17 years now.
Really? Okay.
So a good group of people, and that actually, not only give a damn, but also have walked the talk and
Right.
served. And then with the bank, of course, we have a lot of veteran loan officers and operations people. And so, when we came together with Stride a year or so ago, well, about 2 years now, we showed them what we did. And the biggest thing, it was so funny. Lee Dean, who is he's the president of our mortgage division. I remember sitting in a hotel with him and at a conference table when we were first meeting, and he asked me, he goes, "Why?" He's like, "Why do you work with veterans?" And I said, "We work with veterans because veterans are underserved. Unfortunately, the VA loan from the real estate side, the VA loan is downgraded, and people don't want to be a part of it. From the mortgage side, the people that do VA loans, 90% of them don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. They just hack through it.
Yeah, and they do, or they try to move you off of it, and that's what really got us going. Was my brother was telling me about guys that he was serving with that were getting FHA loans, and I'm like, why?
Oh my!
And so he had them send me their paperwork, and so I started looking through them, and I started investigating. I'm not going to name the banks, obviously, but I called the lenders, and I acted as if I was a veteran and I wanted to apply for a loan, and they said, "Well, you probably want to do an FHA loan," and I'm like, "Okay, well, why would I want to do that?"
Yeah.
And they started telling me, so I started digging into their pricing. They were making more money on an FHA loan, and I'm like, "Holy crap!" And so that's when I'm like, national VA loans, we need to get information out as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because
that's been our mission for 12 years, is educating agents. We've got one of the 3 courses in the nation that an agent can take to get certified to work with veterans. And we started the course 10 years ago to educate agents so that they can understand exactly what you just talked about, because they're still not well educated on that subject. It's still not that well understood. So
no, and like you said, 10% of the people do 90% of the work, 90% of the business, and once you get that 10% really good and everyone's happy, that's great. But you still got the other 90% that are going to run into things, and they're going to do, and it can just give a bad name to the VA loan. And it's one of the things we always hear is, oh, the VA appraisal process is difficult. And I was talking to an appraiser. He's a veteran also, and he's here in Kansas City, and he's been doing appraisals for 35 years. And he's an Army vet. He was an Army field medic. Super good dude. And me and him got to talking one day, and he's like, he goes, people, loan officers and real estate agents, they think that the VA loan or the VA appraisal process is so difficult. But what the veteran needs to understand is that process is in place to protect them.
Exactly.
To make sure that their house is good and is safe and is up to safety standards. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's the part that people don't understand. And because and the reason they don't understand is because they don't care to, because what they're looking for is the end dollar. They're looking for the path of least resistance to where they can make money. And that's not always the best way to do things. I mean,
no, it's not. And the appraisal is not that difficult. Like you just said, having been through a lot of appraisals, it's there to protect the veteran, and it's not that stringent. But a lot of agents don't understand construction. They don't really understand repairs. They can't look at a roof and tell you if the roof's bad or not. They don't have a clue. So if it's not for the appraiser, then all you're really counting on is that home inspection. And God forbid if you waive a home inspection, which if you're listening to this, never waive your home inspection. Don't waive a home inspection. Get that house inspected. Do not count on the agent to tell you the house is in good condition. Please don't do that, because 99% of them, have never built a house. So, so counting on them is like trying to treat them like they're your mechanic for your car. It's just a bad way to go. So never waiving a home inspection. It's $400 or $500, but it's the best money you'll ever spend. But get a good inspector, get someone that's been in the bit business for a while, and read through the inspection yourself and really get knee deep into it. But that appraiser is your backstop. That appraiser is going to come back and check it all out. But if you get a good home inspection, and when you're doing the home inspection, get the roof inspected and get the HVAC inspected.
Yeah.
So get those three things done. The average inspector doesn't understand HVAC. So if you call the HVAC company, tell them you want a cleaning and inspection, it's typically $99. Now you get the HVAC cleaned, you get an inspection, and when you moved in, then your HVAC's cleaned. So you know it's $99 for cleaning the system, and roof inspections are normally free. Sometimes a roof company will charge you a few bucks for it, but those are three things you got to get done up front, and then use those as instruments in negotiation to get it cured. Because the seller knows the condition of their property. They know if the roof is flaky. They know if that HVAC isn't working right. They know that. You know,
Oh yeah,
so,
they do. Yeah,
you know,
and for less than $1,000, you can save yourself maybe 40 or 50,000 bucks. I mean, which
exactly
is nuts. And not only that, just a lot of time. I mean, you got to think about that too. The process. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we'll close loans in 15 days, no problem at all. But in reality, the process doesn't begin when we get the contract. The process really began when we did the application, and now you're meeting the real estate, and now you're looking at houses. So that could be 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes if it's hard to find the right house. So if you can, once you find that house, then do those inspections, have your HVAC checked out, have the roof looked at, and then do the home inspection for sure. Because at the end of the day, it can save you a ton of money, save you a ton of headache. A ton of time.
Yeah, and all of them are great tools to negotiate with the seller. Because like you said earlier, the seller has equity. In today's market, the vast majority of sellers have equity. That's the time to address it. If that roof has got a year or two left on it, just go to the seller, just get a quote, get a couple quotes, go to the seller and say, listen, this roof's got to be right. Typically the appraiser will catch it, and the roof's got to, meet those requirements as well. But just go to the seller and say, listen, whether you sell this to me or the next person, this roof is going to be an issue. So let's just get it addressed now. I'm a good buyer. I'm going to close, but no matter what, you're going to have to address it. Let's just get it done. Get it done before closing. Have the seller pay for it, and it's done before you move in. And now they're not throwing shingles off your roof the day after you move in your house.
Exactly. So, you're not stepping on nails and mowing over them on Tuesday. Yeah.
Just get all that stuff done. It's peace of mind, but it's money in your pocket. The seller knows the real deal. I mean, so they're required to do what's called a seller residential disclosure, and they're not lying on it. But they're putting the age of the roof on there, so the age of the roof is required on that document. But that varies across the country. In Florida, a roof to last 15 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And if you go up to Virginia, a roof lasts 15 years all the time. But then you go up to New York, you go up to Maine, they don't last as long because it's snow and the ice. So it varies by where you're at in the country on how long a roof is. So just don't let an agent go, oh, roof's good for 20 years. Yeah, listen, there's very few agents that ever put a shingle on a house.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're the last one you want to friggin' give you advice on your roof.
So when a person tells you, the roof's good, really, how many shingles you put up? None. Okay, shut the hell up. I'm gonna have an inspection. Yeah.
Right. And so, those are important factors. I mean, seller's not lying, cheating, or stealing. They're disclosing it all on the disclosure document, but it's really your job to be aware of what you're buying. It's not the seller's job. It's not your agent's job. You have to be aware of what you're buying, because after closing, that house is in your name, not the agent's name. And you're responsible for the note,
and you're stroking the check every month. There you go.
That's right. So it's on you. So trust is fine, but you got to verify as well.
Trust but verify, or inspect what you expect. I mean, that's
exactly.
I will say this, that when you're buying a house, there's a lot of things going on, and it's hard to know, okay, well, what should I do? But that's where guys like you, guys like us, where VREB, where National VA and Stride Bank, where we all come into play. And because our goal, look, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I do loans for I can remember doing loans 24 years ago, 23 years ago, and now I'm doing their kids' loans. And
Yeah.
so when I do a loan, I figure we're friends until forever. And so I know I'm going to talk to you again. I know we're going to work together again. I
Oh
want
yeah.
you to call me if there's issues. So my job is to make sure there's as few issues in the beginning as possible, or we at least cover those roadblocks and at least get them broken down in the beginning so that you can.
Right.
I want you smiling on closing day. I want you
Right.
happy
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I want to talking good things. Let me ask you a question then. It sounds like you've been doing loans so long that when you closed back when you started, that the stagecoach showed up and had bags of coins and they brought those to closing, right?
they did. We talked through.
Okay.
We talked. We had to go through. We had to communicate through smoke signal.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right, man. That's back when times were tough, man, when the
I tell
stagecoach
you.
showed
Yeah,
up.
you know.
So,
All joking aside, I did have to fax deals in.
oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
literally, I can remember. I won't name the lender. They're gone. I guess I can name them. They're gone. They've been gone forever. But
Yeah.
Interfirst. I remember. I remember. My training in the mortgage industry when someone brought me in, the company I worked for, and I say company, it was a small mortgage broker. And they said, that's your desk, that's a computer, that's a phone, figure it
Right.
out. And I'm
Right.
like, okay. And so I can remember taking an application and I took it over the phone and I typed it
Right.
all in and uh, printed it out and I faxed it to the lender.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how we
Oh yeah.
did. And now I
Yeah.
can't even fathom. I mean, now
It's
I bet you
crazy.
1 out of 100 applications we take over the phone. I still enjoy taking a phone application, to be honest with you. I like it because I always taught my loan officer like an application is how you get to know somebody, man.
Exactly. That's a great way to get to know somebody, and to build
Yeah,
that trust and confidence because
yeah,
because
no
now
big.
you can bounce off of questions, be like, hey, have you thought about this? What about that? And then all of a sudden they know that you know your stuff. You know.
Well, and not only that, so back then it was. I mean, yeah, that's a giant point, and
Yeah.
get to know their kids, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm interested about people, and I love people, and working with different especially veterans, because I'm always guaranteed at least one good story per loan. It's a guarantee. I almost
Right.
make it a prerequisite. Look, man, I
Right.
want at least one good story out of you during
Yeah.
this loan,
Yeah. You
but
gotta have one.
yeah, one at least. But it was nice to when you take that application over the phone you get to understand what's important to the borrower
Yeah.
and look at it from an outside perspective that borrower or that buyer is not looking at it from. And you can be like, okay, look, you had said this, so it makes me think that this is important. And then like, oh yeah, that is important. Let's do it that way. And I'm like, so that's what I like about the application. So even when we get
Yeah.
most of our applications come in online, but I always tell our loan officer, like, go through it with them, go through it line by
Oh
line. Let me
yeah.
make sure I'm spelling your name right. Let me make sure that I've got your social security number right. I mean, I fat finger numbers all the time. Maybe you
Oh
did
yeah.
too.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. No, I,
it
I
just,
remember those old days. I mean,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
but I'm like you. I like people. I like educating people. That's part of my DNA. I like educating them, and I like making their life easier. And I don't know how much time I spend every week on the phone with veterans buying a house in our network all across the nation. They'll call into my staff, and they'll be stressed out over the home buying. Most of my staff isn't licensed. So my staff will send me a note and say, hey, can you give this person a call in Phoenix, Arizona? They're stressed. So I call them up on the phone. They're like, who are you again? I'm like, hey, I'm the national director. I'm a veteran, retired out of the Army as a colonel. I try to give them little credentials up front so they know that I'm not bullshit, you
yeah,
know. And so I get them on the phone and we dig deep into the process. And I mean, I'll spend a half an hour on the phone with them. They're just blown away that I'm spending a half an hour on the phone. But that's what excites me. That's what I like to do. All the paperwork and all the taxation, the accounting and marketing. I mean, that's all secondary,
yeah.
So I really enjoy that. And I hang up the phone. I feel like I've helped somebody that day. So I'm like you. I mean, I like talking to people. I get them on the phone. I'm old school. I'd rather pick up the phone and talk to them on the phone than send them 50 text messages.
Oh,
You
sweet
know,
mother, me too, brother.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
I
like kill me to death. I mean,
oh
my
yeah,
God.
I would much rather just pick up the phone. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to recap that conversation with an email
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
all
I'm
have
good
it in
with that.
writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like this, man. I like being able to talk to people
Oh
and
yeah.
it just
And
makes it so much better.
Yeah, and I'll call an agent in a minute. I mean, I'm not shy. I'll call an agent in a minute because they all like the text message.
No, I know.
Agents all love the text message.
Yeah, it's like they got a mandate or
And all of a
something.
sudden, I'll blow up their phone till they answer, or yeah.
Yeah, it's like all real estate agents got a mandate like 5 years ago. Everything is going to be through text now. It's like I just had
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's
did
like
have an agent actually call me yesterday, and she goes, "I could have probably text this, but I thought I'd at least talk to you." And I'm like, "I would love you just to call me. It's so
thank
much
God.
better."
Yes, thank God.
Yeah,
So I call them and it blows them away because I'm right there on the phone. I mean, I don't want to sit there and do a bunch of text messages. Pick up the phone, let's knock it out, let's talk it out. And then if we need to reduce the writing and follow up, that's cool. But I'm going to understand the emotion. I'm going to understand the nonverbal. I'm going to understand all that through the call, which I'm not going to get into text message, nor do I have the patience to send 30 text messages back and forth with all the little acronyms, BTW, this, I'm not that smart to remember all that crap. So
yeah, me either. I believe I've got a teenage son who loves to text me, and I'm like, the other day I called him and he texted me back, and I said, you better call me right now. And he calls me and goes, "What's up, Dad?" I said, "If I call you and then you text me, you better be in the emergency room.
that's
There
right.
better." I said,
That's right.
you answer the damn phone when I call you." All right.
Exactly. And if not, I'm
And
going to turn that phone off.
exactly. And I got the button to do it right here, baby. I'll do it
Exactly.
right now.
I'll
So
log in and turn that sucker off for about 2 days and you'll have a baby over it. So,
yeah,
yeah,
it was so funny the other day. We don't allow electronics in the bedrooms. Just
right.
just a family thing. And
That's fair.
all of a sudden on our AT&T internet, I see your it was a computer that came on and everyone's in bed and there's no compromise on this computer, and I'm looking at it's his laptop, and so I just turned it off on the I was like, I'm not even going in there. I just turned off the internet to it, and I went to sleep, and the next morning I got up and it was about 6 o'clock, and he didn't have to get up till 7 or so, and I went in and woke him up and I said, "This is downstairs. If it's ever up here again, I'll put all your electronics up here and you'll have to find a new place to sleep." Sound good?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And so I always, my, and we're getting way off on a tangent now, Eric, but my
Yeah.
parenting style is I blow up the little things so I don't ever have to deal with the big things. I make a big deal out of the littlest thing,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
hopefully I won't have to deal with the big things ever. So
Well, that's good.
so
Yeah.
far it's worked. Now he probably thinks I'm an asshole, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I mean,
They're
you're
supposed
not
to
there
think.
to be his best friend. You're there to be his dad. So,
No, we
yeah.
can be buddies in a few
Yeah.
years.
Exactly.
Right now I
Yeah.
want you to be a productive, good human being
That's
and
right.
know what's important. So,
Exactly.
oh man. Well, Eric, man, I don't want to keep you much longer. We're going to do this again though, because I've
Yeah.
enjoyed
I
the hell.
enjoyed
I
it.
can't believe
Yeah.
we've been almost on an hour. It feels like it's been 10
Really?
minutes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I know.
gosh.
I can't believe it. But tell everyone I'm going to scroll across the bottom of the website, but is the VREB, and it's across the bottom for VA Nation out there, but it's VREBNETWORK.com. So VREBnetwork.com.
That's exactly right.
Great website. There's a lot of really good information in there. While we were talking, I was kind of looking over some of the success stories, and I'm like, man, this is so cool. It's just really cool, and the website's super easy to use. I think veterans out there, you'll love going on there. And then, Eric's got a great group of people. I haven't met anyone within your group that I didn't enjoy talking to. So
Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. So hit us up on VREBnetwork.com. It's a great website. If you submit your information to us, you're going to get a real live person to call you. It's not just going to be this chat GPT that's chatting you out. So we're within a few hours, our staff will call you up, talk to you, figure out what you need, find out what you want in an agent and all that kind of stuff. I believe in a phone call. Often the people just want to text, and that's fine. We'll text back and forth. The staff will, but we're going to find out what you want. Now we can handle buying your house. We can handle selling your house. We sell houses all over the country. You get a rewards check for selling. You get a separate one for buying. So whatever you want to do. The only thing we don't do is rentals. So, but buying or selling, We've got some educational courses. We got a free course on how to buy a house. We got a free course how to sell a house. So we've got some courses out there for you as well. And it doesn't cost anything to join. So we're not going to turn around and send you a bill to join our network. So again, we're there to make sure that your buying experience goes as well as it can go. It's as profitable as we can make it. Profitable means we're reducing your expenses, and the agent's doing their job, and the lender you're working with, like Jeff, you don't need to check on Jeff, but we got some other lenders once in a while we got to check on a little bit. But we're making sure the lenders are doing a great job, and that when you close, like Jeff said, that you smile and say, "Hey, I use Jeff as my lender, but I use VREB for my agent." That's the end goal, and sending that reward check over to you as a veteran that comes direct deposit in your account within about 2 weeks of closing. Typically, we wait on the agent's paperwork. Once we get it all, then we send it over direct deposit. So we're not mailing checks anymore because they all got lost. But hit us up on that website, VREBnetwork.com. We will respond. You can chat in. We have a chat feature. Actual human beings read your chat, not Chat GPT yet. So we're there to support you. And do not be surprised if you're working with one of our agents, you have a problem. You're going to hear this voice on the other end of the line. What can we do to fix this? And so we will fix it. We have fixed thousands of them. We'll fix yours too, but we'll get you in the house that you want. So I appreciate your listening. And Jeff, I appreciate you having me on your show. And most of all, I appreciate how well you take care of our veterans. You give them a good, solid loan. Your fees are more than fair. But your guys stay on it and they get it closed. And that is not common in the lender world, no matter how big of a company, and I won't mention any names, their success is not as big as they are. They're just big companies.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you having me on the show, buddy.
Well, Eric, man, I appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. And like I said, I want to do this again because we really didn't get into the selling side of it. And I do want to talk about that because that's a big, I'm sure that's a big aspect of what you guys do. And I think it'd be important for our veterans to know that as well.
For sure.
So we'll have you on again and we'll do this again. And
all right,
we'll get into that. So guys, everyone, that's VA Nation. That's Eric Criner he's the National Director for Veterans Real Estate Benefits Network. Check him out, VREBnetwork.com. You will not be disappointed one bit at all. All right. Eric, thank you, man. I'm gonna sign us off here. VA Nation, if you guys have questions, check out nationalvaloans.com, or of course you can call any of our VA specialists here. They're all ready, raring, and go, and you can call them at 855-956-4040. Of course, if you don't have a real estate agent, you're looking to buy a house, we're going to put you in touch with the VREB network to make sure not only you get a great real estate agent, but you're also going to get that benefits reward check after the fact. And that's a huge deal for us and for you guys. Of course, if you are like me and you are just proactive and you like to get stuff done, check out nationalapplynow.com. It's a real simple website. You're going to download our simple, secure Stride Home Mortgage mobile app. It is nice, easy, and simple. You'll be able to submit all of your documents, everything right through that secure application. It'll come right to us, and then your VA specialist will reach out to you to go over all your different options. And again, if you don't have a real estate agent, we're going to get you set up with VREB, and you will not be disappointed. Guys, until next time, VA Nation, thank you for all you do. Thank you for the service to our country. It's a great day to be an American. I can't be happier about that. Guys, that's right, baby. Until next time, take care and God bless.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.